Look at these. These are nice. Wow, AJ let me actually touch his cleats.
They're not mine.
We're giving these away.
Trust me, if these were mine, you would not be touching them.
Oh, they're really nice. Adizero Impact Plus, the florals.
These are the J-Rods, right?
These are the J-Rods. The Julios.
These are so light.
They are really light. That's my style.
Things. Well, you like fireworks? Look at these. Or flowers? They look like, kind of like fireworks. But they are sweet. The floral.
Do you see this too? There's like the glittery shine.
Yeah, the glittery and the
like
three stripe
subtle glittery shine.
And the green. I don't know why they went green for the Tighten Up, but they went green.
I like the floral on the bottom.
When you
zip it,
it's blue, see?
Yep. Wait, hit me for a sec. Look at the bottom. And you're like, why are we doing this? Well, we're giving these away.
This exact pair?
No, and I'll tell you why we're not giving this exact pair out. Because
they're size 6.5, only fit Scott?
I'm a 12, big boy.
Ooh.
The giveaway on socials, Twitter and Instagram, is probably the easiest entry rules of all time. Like the post, comment your favorite player. We don't need anything witty, although if you do, great. It doesn't have to do with that. We'll put it in a generator, and we'll pick out a winner. And the reason we're not giving out the exact ones that AJ has in his hands in that photo is because we are going to give you your rightful size. Within reason. If you ask for size 28, they don't make that.
Yeah.
But within reason. Within the parameters of normality. So go for it. We're running that for a few more days.
Bigfoot can't win. I get it.
Exactly. Like
how do we know what size? But how do we know what size Bigfoot is if Bigfoot's not real?
He needs to like and comment his favorite player.
But how do you know?
I don't know if he's real. But I know there's kids watching, and I don't want to ruin anything for them.
Measure the footprint.
It's like you said, you're trying to tell me that Easter Bunny's not coming on Sunday in a couple weeks.
I don't talk about Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster. I don't want to ruin it for the kids. Mascots.
What are you ruining?
I don't want to be like the Red Sox with Wally's head.
They ruined Wally.
They ruined Wally.
So wait, Wally's not real?
That's the problem. If you're 5.
You just told me this now?
No, I'm not saying anything. That's the thing. I am not saying anything.
All right, Scott, you're out. I hate you. You just told me that Wally wasn't real. I thought Wally was real.
Were you on that show the other day when we talked about Wally?
No.
You know the Red Sox have the new Wally celebration?
Yes. But that's like not the same. That's not Wally's actual head. They didn't chop his head off and give it to him.
Of course. But here's my question. This is actually a serious question. Let's say when your kids were little, you take them to the Red Sox game or they're going to watch you play for the Sox and they love Wally and they want to say hi to Wally. And then they see Dad with Wally's head on and nothing else celebrating a dinger.
I'd like to think my kids were smarter than that, but you never know at a young age.
4 or 5, like when they're really young and they don't know.
I have a picture of my kid with Southpaw on me.
And were they crying or they were into it?
No, I mean, they were happy to see Southpaw.
Who's Southpaw?
So Southpaw's head was...
Southpaw was the White Sox.
Yeah, if his head was on your head and you were walking around with your normal body.
Sounds like one of your role-playing games, Scott. Let's get back on task here.
All right, let's
Baseball,
try.
Scott. Baseball.
Yeah, not role play.
Charge it.
You even turn off the producer lady. Scott even threw off producer lady with his role play.
Pick a comeback. You want to talk about Kratz? You're nicer to me. Pick a comeback. Do you want to talk about the Giants or the Mariners first?
Mariners. We got to bring some love to the Mariners. Giants they're first place in the West, so let's go with the Mariners. They need some love.
They do, and they needed it. They needed that game.
Yeah,
I get it.
Was Hader was down, I guess, because he didn't pitch.
What was his schedule? He pitched.
I don't know. He must have been down because they used random guy. Not random guy, but I don't. It wasn't usually Abreu in the 8th, Hader in the 9th, and they did not use that combination. I think Okert gave up but there was somebody before Okert that got him to the base load. They brought Okert in. He gave up the grand slam to Randy, and then Abreu blew it in the 9th. But I guess I'm assuming Hader wasn't available, which is why they didn't use him. But man, what a great comeback for Seattle and their fans, and what a bad loss for. By the way, did the monitor someone move the monitor?
Yes.
Why?
Because mine is French fried, and we're ordering a new one in a few days.
But
so can we share?
That's weird because now it looks like usually I look at the monitor, but now the camera. It's so. I mean, you also break it. He also forgot his keys in New Jersey, Kratz. Like, I just don't. True. I mean, we got to move them. Everything is for Scott's well-being.
That's his earpiece.
Oh, I also forgot that. Man, these millennials are crazy.
It's like when dogs dig something up wherever they go and they want it.
What do you? Well, I know what you leave here. There's too many things to list. Like we don't have enough show to list all the things Scott has left at my house, and we'll never get out of here.
Kratz, I have a time capsule here, just things that annoy AJ, and I put them in here, and then I just dig them under the rug or the.
I mean, if we can show over here, Kratz, I know this is way off target, but here's the thing. Like, between all the junk and the tchotchkes he has over here and the shirts and the hats and the bobbleheads and the random Met stuff that we have, it's like, it's like I need a whole other
tchotchkes.
Yeah, tchotchkes. Like all these random tchotchkes.
Extra flair. He has extra flair.
You know what? While we're on this, I'm going to let everyone in on a little secret, okay? I worked in television before this for 12 years, and I probably shouted out a few hundred sponsors, right? For segments, for reads, all kinds of stuff. That's how this works, right? You get free content, we read stuff out, although where I worked isn't really free anymore. But anyway, I never once touched one product that I spoke about. Not once. Hundreds of products talked about. Not once did I get to touch it, talk about it, know it. Well, I talked about it, but actually not experience it, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, I can go get it myself. I'm not asking for everything to be free, but not once. Now, let's flip it. FT motto, which I'm part of, is we would like you to send us stuff, then we can actually experience it and talk about it better. Then what happens? AJ says, there's too much stuff.
No. That's not true. That's not true. Because I will only talk about stuff that I actually get in my hands. I will not endorse or on the show say something about something that I do not have. Harry's, I have Harry's. I shaved yesterday with Harry's. Look how clean
it looks nice.
Right?
Wait, so what's the problem, though? Hold on.
The problem is you have the 1986 Mets subway trains over there, which we didn't get. You brought from wherever it is, whatever hole you crawled out of.
Let's put it on the desk.
Well, it's way over there. You're going to get up and get it? There's so much junk over there. There's all this Mets gear. There's a Walt Weiss Rockies bobbleheads. I mean, there's makeup kits. I mean, there's stuff over there, Scott, that you don't even know. You don't even know you have.
I don't think all of it's me.
I know it's mine, and I know what's yours.
It's our other co-host.
I know the Mariners won last night, and it was an awesome walk-off.
Yes. And you know what was great? The Mets, Pete Alonso hit that ball, I don't know what the dude's name was, but he was beheaded by the wall. The catch in center field yesterday.
Dane Myers?
Oh, Dane Myers.
Dude, that was like one of the best catches of all time. I mean, that was unbelievable. I know it won't go down.
That needs to get a lot of love.
For him to dive head first into the wall like that, I mean, he went head first into the wall.
You thought it was better than Derek Hill's catch the day before?
Yes, because he hit the wall. Derek Hill was just diving. This dude went full extension.
You can break your neck.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's why you tackle with your helmets up, your heads up, kid.
The Astros bullpen has question marks behind it. Obviously, Presley's gone. Hader's still there. He wasn't pitching yesterday. Randy Arozarena, 2 out. Grand slam in the bottom of the 8th off Okert. Julio ties at bottom 9 off of Abreu. Randy gets the walk-off walk to win the game. You want to add
3-2 breaking ball right there, Kratz? I don't know about that one. You got to throw a pitch you can throw for a strike. Make him get a hit. You can't walk him right there, right? Am I wrong on that?
I was watching it live. Or
See,
no,
I was
watching it live. It looked like he was controlling his fastball. He was just nibbling with his fastball, so maybe he wasn't controlling it, but I don't know. Another problem the Astros have is they cannot shut down the running game. Teams get on, and they go.
Oh, yeah. The Mariners didn't steal bases. They were running wild on them.
I think the number's 17 for 18 now for the season. And Chandler Rome, who's our Crush City territory host, has replied to a number of fans over the past few days that are like, what the heck is wrong with our catchers? And he was like, pitchers are not varying looks or timing. Stop blaming the catchers.
It's not the catchers. And I'm a catcher.
I think 6 out of the 18 wasn't even a throw. That's how big of jumps they were getting.
How many times did you do that as a catcher? Like, there were times where guys would just get a jump, and I'd just be like, right back to the pitcher. You know why? because then the people realize it's not your fault. You're just like, I got no chance. Why the hell am I going to waste a bullet? The only thing that can happen is something bad, like me chucking it into the center field because I try to rush. Like, nope. I'm just throwing it right back to the pitcher.
I'll tell you why I used to always throw it anyway. I used to always throw it anyway because of crazy legs Rajai Davis. Rajai Davis would always slide past second base. And my thought was somebody's going to slide past second base, keep the tag on. Maybe you get him. It's caught stealing.
Yeah, you got to stick the tags at all times these days with replay.
Yeah, you come off by the size of Scott's feet and you're out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just the 12 spot and you're out. The Astros are 5-7. They're fine. They started off way worse last year. I just want to throw that out there. The Mariners are 5-8.
Nobody's great in that division. I know the Rangers are supposed to be the team.
Yeah,
but they, some of their banged upness already. I don't know. I think that listen, the Angels, say what you want, but they're in this now because the division's not great.
I know it's early though. We're going to talk to Sam Blum later. I think the Rangers are.
I think the Rangers are the best team. They should be, but if they keep mashing homers like they did off Imanaga, they're going to be all right.
I want to finish with this. Do you know who the players of the week are in the NL and the AL?
Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman. Boom, nailed it. Ex-Astros.
Kratz,
that kind of hurts. That kind of hurts when you lose a walk-off.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're going to tug at your heartstrings coming up next. AJ's best buddy, Lance Lynn, joining us just days after announcing his retirement. We'll see if AJ can talk him back into joining Major League Baseball.
No.
He gone back into a golf membership.
He's eating salads. He's out.
Nope.
All right, let's hit the goods. PXG, golf time. Go get yourself a fitting, get yourself a club, and it is almost the weekend if you work weekdays and you have a little time off and you want to hit the links. AJ, have you tested out? What did you get? What was the latest that you got when you were at PXG? The putter?
I got a putter, new putter.
Did you test it out yet?
No, it's supposed to be here tomorrow.
Oh, it's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to be here tomorrow. Did they lengthen it, AJ? Did they give you a longer putter?
Yes, because I have a long putter.
But it's obviously not a belly putter, but like, did they
I have a long other putter. Things? Because I don't bend over.
That's what I mean.
You stay
more upright. So, my miss when I putt is I'm here and I need to lean over more so I can get my eyes more over the putter. And they kind of lengthen. And the guy's like, why do you have such a long putter? And I said, that's the way I like it.
I like long putters.
And I cannot lie. Because first of all, I'm taller than most people anyways. So, and I have a long torso, so I don't want to bend over as much. So I have to lengthen it and make it more upright so it fits me better. And I have a traditional grip. I don't cheat. I don't claw. I don't anchor. I'm not anchoring, even though they're anchoring. But that's a good swing, right? That's a good position right there.
That's nice. All right, so do this for a limited time. Save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/foul. That's pxg.com/foul to save up to 20% on your entire order. Restrictions apply. See site for details. All right, so we have a minute. We can talk about San Francisco also pulling off a little comeback. Specifically, I just wanted to point out, what the hell is going on with Wilmer Flores? 5 homers every time they need him right now, and they've needed him a lot.
He's hot. Free agent here. He's ready to go.
That's what it is?
No, he's always been clutch.
On short-term deals. Yeah, he's clutch. And he's a take what's given guy when you're looking at the ABs. Not trying to do too much. Oof. What was yesterday's? That hooked, right? That homer?
What do you mean hooked?
Right down the line. Right down the line.
Yeah. Well, there's already been 5, and 3 or 4 of them have been super clutch. So props to him. Yaz
not as good
splashes
as Yaz
down.
is.
Yeah, that was sick. Good for the Giants. Fun start for them.
Yeah, the fans are into it, man. And listen, if you want to listen to an exciting broadcast,
top 5.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
They're fun.
It's out of here.
Adios, pelota.
We've got Lance Lynn joining us right now. We've spoken to him a lot over the past couple of years. This is the first time we're talking to him as a retired MLB player. So congrats to you, Lance. I know you announced it a few days ago. Congratulations. An incredible career. Appreciate having you on right after it. So good to see you. First, take us through it, man. Well, I mean, we spoke to you maybe a month ago, but what went through the decision as you were obviously talking to some teams, but not feeling like it was right?
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. You start here's the gist of it. I started making plans and they didn't involve baseball. So it was pretty obvious the choice to make. I was enjoying being at home. The numbers, the teams weren't lining up. So the way I looked at it was there's no good time to retire. So why not try to force something to be miserable? And if that's your last year, that wouldn't have been fun. So, I enjoyed my last year in St. Louis. My family was there. Everybody was there. My last start was in Busch Stadium in a win. So it was like, you start to look at it that way. It was like, just go enjoy your life. That was pretty much it.
I'm mad at you a little bit. Not really, but I'm mad at you. You've already learned one thing about being retired. It's listen to your wife. So instead of coming on here to announce it, you went on your wife's podcast, Diamond in the Rough.
Smart move.
So that was smart. That was your first good step into retirement. Now what you're going to have to learn is you just have to do everything she says, no matter what. No matter how much you don't want to do. When she says take out the garbage, you don't say when. It is now, Lance. So just know that going forward for the rest of your life, you're stuck.
No, I got it. I told her I needed 15 to 20 minutes real quick while I'm cleaning out the garage to come do this, and then I'm back at it.
That's right. You're right back to work. And by the way, there's no more road trips. There's no more, I got to go to the field. There's no more, honey, I'm pitching today. I can't do that. It is all hands on deck. Kids, no kids, whatever she asks, bow down, Lance.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I got a tea time tomorrow at 11, though, so that's already been on the books for a week. So I get to plan ahead these days. When school's when soccer practice is, when games are, all that good stuff. So, get on a schedule, and everybody is working nicely together so far.
Yeah, you got to get in line for sure. But
the real question is, boxes of old gear. You know how you just grab a bag at the end of the year and it just sits in your garage until you retire? She's like, hey, you're retired. It's time to clean up all this crap now.
And where's it going? Where's all that stuff going?
I got to see what I want to keep. What family members might want. The extra shirts that you just worked out in during the year, whatever, all that stuff. Wash them up, see which family member wants them, and go from there. And then stuff that might mean something, you keep it.
Is there something that you couldn't do when you played that's already on the schedule that you're going to go do?
Yeah, I mean, we've already looked at the Kentucky Derby. I'm in a fishing tournament next weekend. I've got 4th of July plans already. I'm like, man, this is what summer's all about. I've never had a summer in my life, it feels like. So I'm looking forward to the ability to do things that you miss out on when you're playing, because as everybody knows, you don't get a chance to do anything except for that one off day, which is a Monday or Thursday. And if it's a Monday, usually golf courses are closed, so that's the worst off day of the week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff this summer.
Lance, have you been throwing? What if someone calls you and says, hey, we're starters down, we need help? What if someone calls you? Have you been throwing?
Up. My price keeps going
up.
Yeah,
but your price can't keep going up if the season keeps getting shorter.
It sure doesn't work. Guys keep getting hurt, and then there's a lot of below average starters out there and a lot of rotations. So you never know.
Can't argue that.
All I know is I can be bought, but ain't nobody come to the table with enough money to buy me out of leaving the house yet. It's like the old dog that gets to come inside for the first time ever. He doesn't want to go back out. I'm enjoying it right now.
The $1 Million Man said everyone has a price, Lance. So make sure whatever that price is.
And I promise it's not $1 million for the rest of the year.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Is that what it was?
I don't know.
What was getting?
I don't know. Ask him what he was getting.
Yeah.
A lot of 1-for-4s. And then they were like, I was like, well, if you want me to play half the season, then I'll show up in end of June and then be ready for July on. And then a couple teams were like, actually, that sounds like a good idea. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm going to at least enjoy 4th of July. So we're going to do it from there. So just didn't playing out, or didn't, and to be honest, the teams and the places that we're calling weren't really ideal either, because there were a lot of teams that, hey, come help these young kids and then we'll trade you at the deadline. It's like, man, it's not where I'm at in my career, and I don't have to be. So stay at home.
So you're saying there's a chance. We heard you. We heard you. I get it. There's money talks.
Nah, right now, there's zero chance.
Okay. But you lost all that weight. Are you like, you know what? I'm going to keep this weight off so that my first 4th of July cookout, I'm looking good, Lance? Or are you like, first thing I did, as soon as I got off a diamond on the rough, I'm going to the burger joint?
No, first thing I did is you got to get ready for boating season. So no, you're keeping it off. I feel good physically, and I've not felt this way in a long time. So to be able to, be pain-free and doing everything was another thing too. Everybody knows when you play and you go through the grind, the pains come back. I was enjoying not being in pain. So I'm in a good spot right now to go live my life, enjoy my kids, be able to play with them, do all that. And I ended in a place that, I can hang my hat on and enjoy that ending. So that was a lot of the reasons to be done.
Was your kids shocked when you didn't leave for spring training? Were your kids like, Dad, you're not supposed to be here. Get out.
No, to be honest with you, my 6-year-old, I kept asking her, hey, you want Dad to go play? And she kept saying no. And then it never changed. And then like the week before I truly decided to be done, I asked her again because I was like, you ask her when they're happy with you after you buy them a toy. You ask them when they're mad when you take the toy away because they weren't acting right. Hey, you want Dad to go play? And she kept saying no. She wanted me to stay. So it made it a lot easier too.
Since you made the decision, what are some of the first things that you thought back on? You had already mentioned, you won your last start, all this stuff. But what are the first things that you think back on your career and you're like, that's a memory that I'll never forget?
Oh, there's a bunch. You look back at, I was going through some stuff the other day and saw the World Series jerseys, the World Series ring, kind of getting everything lined up that, was in the safe. You start moving things around and you're like, man, a lot of memories pop up. And then you just think fondly of them, and then you start thinking about teammates. I've had some good ones. I've had some real tough ones. I would say another word, and one of them's on the show right now. But I've been blessed in this game to play for great organizations, have great teammates, and have a lot of success. And, I'm very happy with my career. And, it was, you never want it to be done, but sometimes it feels good to just be done with it and say, hey, what's the next chapter in life?
Damn, I'm sorry you played with Kratz. Sorry that you played with Kratz.
That
must have been a long 48 hours that you played with Kratz. If you just put him on the bad list.
Do we ever even cross paths on a 48-hour basis,
Nope.
Kratzy? I don't think so. We played against each other on every team you've been on.
We played against. I played a couple teams that you played with. Yeah. AJ's the only bad teammate on this show, so there's that. So we know who you're talking about. Not Scott.
Hey, AJ, you can always learn something from everybody, and I learned a lot from AJ.
See, he learned. You know what he learned? He learned how to get the hell out of St. Louis. That's what he learned. He learned a lot of things in that 3-month span in St. Louis. We had a lot of long chats, Lance and I, about things.
AJ got himself kicked off 2 teams that year. I've never seen it happen with Boston and in St. Louis.
Well, Kratz used to get kicked off like 5 teams a year, so don't bring that on me. That was a record for me. 2 in 1 year.
No, that was when exit velocity. That's when exit velocity started coming into play. And I just exited a lot of teams really fast, and I thought that's what they meant. Like I had to exit the team, exit the clubhouse. So I got it figured out later on. But yeah, don't bring me into your bad teammate status.
I got to ask Lance this, and he'll get this story. Did Mike Matheny, your last start in St. Louis, come up to you and say, "Lance, you've had a great career"? Did he call
something
you?
Like that? Something was said in my last start in St. Louis that first time around. Yes. I don't think it was a great career. It's like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen business-wise and all that. I want to tell you, you've had a great run here in St. Louis at this point.
Because you were there when – listen. There's background in this story. So when I played for St. Louis –
we were already eliminated from the playoffs and everything. So there was a lot of, sentimental stuff going on because we didn't know what free agency was going to hold. It was a weird time.
So the backstory is when I was with the Cardinals, We were in San Francisco, and we lose to the Giants. We get walked out by Ishikawa, lose in the, I don't know what, in the NLCS. Matheny comes up to me and goes, and Lance was standing right there. I'll never forget. It was in the weight room. And he goes, I just want you to know you've had a great career. And I looked at him and I was like, what the F are you talking about? I don't know that I'm quitting playing yet.
And Lance, he hated you.
Yeah, true.
And he wanted you to hang him up. He was tired of looking at you. I get it.
That's true. I can't blame him because I was actually like, he would come up to me and say things like, that was a good throw. And I would look at him and be like, Coach Mike, I'm really good if you just let me play and get out of my way. But he never wanted to do that.
Yeah, I played this game for a little bit. I'll be all right. No, I didn't get the good career. I got the, hey, you've had a heck of a run in here in St. Louis. We don't know what it's going to be free agency. So that was pretty much it. I did get a text from him saying congrats on a great career, but I had already announced my retirement. So at least he learned something. At least he learned something.
See, I taught him something too.
You taught him not to wait till the guy officially announces it.
That's fair. Lance, now we bring up all the good stuff. How did you feel about your hitting career? Like, we have stats here. Like, do you know how many doubles you had?
Like 3.
5?
2, 5.
How many stakes? Right. How many stakes did you have?
Maybe 8.
7, okay? Ooh. Now here's the big one. Out of 283 at-bats, how many times do you think you punched out? This is a phenomenal number.
283?
Yeah.
At-bats? So I'm thinking like 235 punch-outs.
159.
Oh, man. I feel like there was times I was up there with no intention of swinging at all, and a couple times I walked, and then most times I punched out. Yeah. Most times I punched out. I wasn't out there to run the bases in 100-degree weather in St. Louis. There was no chance in hell of that.
I would have never said this. I thought, like, watching you on the mound, always watching you compete, moving around, I'm like, definitely athlete. Some pitchers, they you hope the ball doesn't hit to them because they're going to zoo it. And you wouldn't do that.
I do have hits from both sides of the plate, though. And I didn't start switch hitting until like 6 years in. So there you go.
There you go. But no dingers.
I could hit home runs from both sides of the plate in BP. I could do it all. But you get in a game and it was, hey, take the first strike. I was like, cool. Thanks for the punch out, Skip. You don't get a swing at the first pitch. I'm done right away. Everybody else gets to, but not me.
That's because they realized you couldn't hit. You're more of an American League guy, where they needed a DH for you early in your career.
No, I when it went DH through the whole leagues, I loved it. I was like, man, you could have done this early on in my career. I remember just how bad it hurt when I came back from Tommy John just to try to swing a bat. And I was like, man, I'm here to pitch and I got to swing and it hurts. So I was like, this is ridiculous.
That hitting's hard. That's hitting hard. Is there any stories you can tell now that you're done playing that you wouldn't be able to tell us before?
No, because you know me, I would never do that. If it's not meant to be said while you're playing, it's not meant to be said ever. That's my motto. But I will say this, Dotel, rest in peace. He was one of the, I had him in 2011 when I was a rookie, and I was in the bullpen with him. And I just want to, my heart's out to him and his family. He was an amazing teammate, amazing person, and so much fun to be around. I don't know if you guys got to play with him, but man, he was awesome.
I had him 2 years, 08 and 09, I think. And yesterday I talked about him, obviously. He was incredible. I mean, he was always smiling, always dancing, always laughing, always listening to music, always the last one at the ballpark. Right?
Bus is here.
Bus is here. That's what I said. Bus is here. He'd scream it as soon as it'd be like 5 o'clock. He'd be like, Bus is here. You're like, here comes
he'd get in at 5. He'd get in at 5, go do all his stuff, and then he'd make it to the bullpen by the 5th inning. One time in 11, they called to bring him in the 3rd, and he was sitting in the clubhouse, not even with no clothes on. And I don't remember who it was, but they had to run out and tell the rooster, like, hey, he's not ready yet. You're going to have to get somebody else up.
I mean, I said yesterday, he would do so many things that would get people mad, and then he would come in and smile and say something, and everyone would forgive all the dumb stuff he had done. Like that, right? Like that was just the kind of person he was. It was incredible. He would do all these. I mean, I forget one time we saw him in the hotel, and God rest in peace, Octavio. He was just sitting there drinking wine, smoking a cigar. It's like 11 a.m., 12 o'clock, before the game. He's like, I'll be ready in the 7th, Poppy. Don't worry. Sure enough, he comes out, punches out the side. You're like,
he would.
What the? It was awesome. It was unbelievable. I don't recommend that for anybody, but I'm just saying, like, for him, it worked. And
they don't make them like that anymore.
No, they definitely do not.
Well, you're not allowed to either. Some guys would have a great skit like that too if you'd let them, but too much seriousness anymore.
Why is that? Why did it get so serious?
There's a lot of money being thrown around now, so you gotta act right. A lot more eyes on you and things of that nature too. So you get paid a lot of money to play a game, so you gotta toe the line.
There's too many coaches now. There's too many coaches that have to answer for why their third starter, their fifth bullpen guy is in the lobby at 12 o'clock sipping on some red wine.
Right. Well, that's true. And the fact that there's so many coaches and staff nowadays that you can't even get a seat on the bus because they all have their own, it's just ridiculous. The players be doubled up in the back while all the coaches and everybody have their own seat. It's special. You're there for them. It used to be they were there for you. Nowadays, it's, hey, you're there for them.
They all get their own seat. They all get their own row on the plane. Would you coach?
Right.
Would you coach
Players
if the right people?
You guys are good.
Yep. Would you coach in the big leagues if the right people asked?
No. You know how much just BS you have to deal with? First things first, I'm going to have to deal with a catcher like AJ and a pitcher like me going over a pregame like batting order, but in all honesty, if you had somebody like myself and AJ, you don't even have to do that because they know what the hell they're doing. So, but that being said, you get some of the young kids that come up and they either don't have an idea what they're doing or they think they have an idea what they're doing, and all they know how to do is make it spin fast and go sideways, but they don't know how to set it up or get anybody out. So between that, not getting paid enough, and being there way too long and being away from family, being a major league coach is not in the cards for me.
All right, so coaching's out, but we know you have diamond in the rough. But what about FT? I mean, you're already one of our regulars. Are you going to come on and be a regular here with us, or what? I don't know if my heart. If you say yes, I don't know if my heart can handle that. Between you and Rowdy, I just don't know.
I'm in that boat where right now I'm going to enjoy my time and see where it takes me. Baseball's been great to me, and I've done it forever. Like, I don't remember the last time I've not played baseball year round, right? Or done sports year round. So right now it's family time, enjoying, catching up on the things that I've gotten to miss, and then see just what's there and what could be fun moving forward. I'd love to stay involved in the game, talk about it. I enjoyed it. We have stories, we can do all this stuff. So see what's available, see what's there, and go from there.
Lance, question for you. Can you give us a glimpse of the difference of organizations? I'll let you just pick from any of them. Just give us like one difference, right? Because you really went all over the place in terms of like how places run, and people like you are the only ones that can actually explain that because you're fresh off the field, right? Like difference between Cardinals, White Sox, Dodgers, Yankees, etc. Just if you can point out one or two things where you're like, this is the biggest thing that I would tell a player, like you're going to see this here, and they don't do that here.
Yeah, I would say so. In the gist of it, when you're with the Dodgers and the Yankees at that point in my career, their ability to everything that you would need as a player and on and off the field, they were they had it all covered. But they also, their ability to teach what they wanted to teach, whether it's the sabermetrics, anything and everything. But they taught you how to be you, I guess, is a simple way to say it. And that's why I think you see those guys showing up with the ability to play. When I first came up in St. Louis, sabermetrics weren't there yet. There was a way to play. They called it the Cardinal way, but the Cardinal way when I first came up was play the game hard, leave it all out on the field and be there for your teammates. And then it turned into a bunch of other stuff that really didn't matter on how you played or how you competed or anything like that. It was more off the field stuff, which, I think you saw them try to go the sabermetric way, and then you go one way too far, then you got to figure out how to get back in the middle. And I think that you're seeing that now with St. Louis this year with what they're doing with their their revamp organizationally. And then Minnesota was in the boat of trying to step up. And then I think when Correa got there, he really helped them, and Sonny Gray, those two together really helped them take their organization to the next level, especially at the big league level. And you have like your Nelson Cruzes and those guys that were they're really in tune to the things that, getting an edge, and sabermetrics and the video and stuff like that really took them to the next level. And then when it comes to Texas was there with everything. Woody brought a lot of things over from the Dodgers. So then you're starting to see what he built, and then Boch came in with his pedigree as a manager and World Series and this and that to really take them to where they're at. So that was already kind of being built. And then obviously Chicago is behind everybody. I enjoyed. I really, I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that.
No, you're not. You're being honest.
It's just the honest truth. Like, there's some great people there. AJ knows all of those people. There's a lot of great people there. But when it comes to top to bottom, organizationally, like even minor leagues coming up, I went down and spent a month rehabbing my knee there, and I stayed with the AAA team for the whole time. And just seeing the way that things were going about and stuff like that, there definitely needs to be some changes, and there still probably needs to be some changes just by going off of some of the things I've heard and seen.
Well said.
Got it. All right, that's perfect. By the way, before we let you go, I know you're in your golf sim room, and we have to get to break. Producer lady will strangle me. But
no.
Golf clubs? What kind of golf clubs? Because I know a guy that can get you a PXG deal. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
I've got a set of PXGs right here, so I could use that. I could use that new set, so I can send you my specs and give me some new ones. We can put a nice PXG sign. Where's that? Right here, so it'd be right there for me. Perfect. When I'm doing my show. So if you got a guy, tell him to call me. I love golf clubs.
We do.
Do I have to call you though? Do I have to call you?
You can text me.
Okay. FaceTime.
FaceTime.
FaceTime. Oh my gosh.
Too much.
AJ,
one of the best part about having golf simulator and retirement is your tee time's always safe. I love it.
That's true. Yes, you are very punctual now. Yep.
If Scott ever got his stuff out of this room, I could put a golf simulator in here.
I'm adding another TV.
Yeah. AJ doesn't like being at home. AJ doesn't. He needs to be out.
You want to hit the course. You don't want to do it at home.
Of course, I like to be outside.
Yeah. Well, Lance, enjoy your next tee time. Yeah, next time we have you on, you'll be all sponsored up like a NASCAR car, and we'll talk to you then, all right?
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Congrats again, Lance, on retirement. Lance Lynn with us on FT. Always a favorite. That was good.
Always good with Lance.
Yeah, I know a lot of you were asking. Lance, FT? We tried. I think what happens is, first off, you want to take a little break from the grind. And then also, if you're commentating on baseball, you know this because you've worked with people that enter. You got to know your shit. Baseball's tough to keep up with, right?
You got to pay attention.
That's the thing. I mean, I've worked with a ton of. I've worked with probably a couple hundred different former players as broadcasters. There was one season I called games, and every week they'd give us a new set of broadcasters. And sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, you're not watching. You don't know what's going on." I'm like, "You don't know who this guy is, do you?" Yeah. So the key to success, in my mind, in baseball broadcasting is have screens everywhere, so that you always have baseball on in your car, in your bathroom, even if they're small, right?
Pretty much.
That is helpful.
You have to. Cars, bathrooms, showers. I have screens everywhere.
You do. I carry my tablet around everywhere. Yeah,
flex. Just the truth.
Yeah. Phone or tablet works too. Anything that you have, but just throwing it out there. It's a good final answer, just to get a little realness. That one might stand out a little bit for the White Sox fans. But because everyone wants to just cry about, salary cap and money and whatever. How about the way that the org is handling things?
Yes. But listen, Lance was one of the – I remember when Lance was there, they were saying that Lance was really trying to get him to change a lot of things. They added a family room because of Lance.
They didn't have one?
They had – I mean, it wasn't very good, but they made a big one, and that was a big deal. But they've actually added a lot since Lance was there. Now, I mean, they're playing catch-up, though, right? So all these other teams already have all these things, Kratz, and from being on a bunch of different teams. Like, when you would switch teams, like, oh, wow, they have this. Oh, this is kind of cool. It's amazing they have this.
Next time.
Well, now the White Sox are trying to catch up to what everyone else already has. So by the time they get what's built, the next people are on to the next thing. So that's where it's hard. You got to figure out how to get in front of it, and that's That's one of the hard things for, when you talk about baseball is how to get in front of the curve.
Yep.
Takes time.
Do minor league teams have family rooms?
Yes. That's less on the org. That's less on the org. It's more on the actual family, the team. Like the Columbus Clippers are not owned by the Guardians. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs are. They don't all have family rooms. That's what's tough. That's what's grinder. That's why some of the wives only come to visit when they're in the big leagues. Big league wife, AAA wife.
Call me when you're in the bigs.
Mm-hmm.
Hot Corner, let's sizzle. You can learn more about Ken Rosenthal's story on Vladdy Jr.'s ridiculous signing bonus, $325 million, by reading his article in The Athletic or by watching or listening to FoulTerritory. We're going to talk about it right now. 65% of his $500 million contract, which includes no deferrals, will be paid out in a signing bonus spread out over the course of the 14 years. Signing bonus means you already get the money regardless of what happens after that. Even though the money doesn't all get paid out right away, the clarification for people to understand is that if we have a lockout, it doesn't matter. Vladdy's still getting his paycheck.
He was
no matter
smart.
What.
This whole thing was really smart. I've said it from the get-go. Not only was he smart with how he got it done, meaning how he basically made the Blue Jays have to sign him because of the way he played them, but then to do this with the signing bonuses, knowing there's a potential lockout, not only that, he also doesn't have to get paid in Canada, the bulk of it. He's getting the bulk of it in Florida where he lives and there's no state tax. And he's going to save a crazy amount of money doing it this way. Listen, I give him and I give his agents a ton of credit for what they did and how they structured this is unbelievable. And the Blue Jays are like, sure, we'll do it.
Why?
Because it's chunk payments.
It's better that way
for teams. Yeah.
Ross Atkins said,
I don't know if he get, but here's my question: does he get them at the end of every year? Or does he get them in January? Because I used to always try to sign before the new year, and then I could throw my signing bonus. I'd always try to get a signing bonus, and I'd get it thrown in before the new year, so that I could use it on my taxes the year before, and I could use it in Florida. So that way, see.
Yes, I think you could go either. I think you could do it either way.
I know.
So you're saying is it December or January because there's a difference there?
Yes.
The only thing I do know is it doesn't count on the season because it's after the season for the team's luxury tax or whatever it
must
is,
be
right?
Paid in December.
Probably December.
Whenever the
the cycle, the next cycle kicks
whatever
in.
The new cycle.
Why does so that's why Toronto does it? Because a lot of people are like, why does Toronto say yes to this? And also, is he so smart? Wouldn't every player ask for this? It's just that he has the leverage to actually
that's what I'm saying.
Get the yes.
That's what I said. He played him perfectly.
Yeah. If you're a player that lives in Florida, Kratz, every player wants to get as much of their signing bonus as possible. I mean, if it's up to a player, they'd get the whole signing bonus sent to them in their contract because then they don't have to pay taxes in wherever else it is.
I would have. I mean, I lived in Virginia when I played. I would have loved to have gotten a signing bonus. I mean, Virginia's state tax, I think, was 6%. Canada was 14%. 14% on top of everything that you're earning, your normal taxes. So if he saved 14% on $325 million, that's $45.5 million. Obviously, I don't know. There's probably ways to work around that tax. But remember what Shai Davidi said when he was on here too, right after he signed, talking about how the Canadian dollar, the exchange wasn't great. I wonder if, currently, the Blue Jays get some benefit from that because maybe they don't have to, they can use different funds to pay those signing bonuses because it's technically not paying somebody that's in Canada. You follow what I'm saying? I wonder if somebody smarter than me would have to look that up, but he was talking about that, so that would be maybe another reason that the Blue Jays were like, yeah, sure, we'll do it.
I genuinely understand what you're saying, and I'm not smart enough to explain it to others. But yes, there are smart people that work for every team or every team's owner that know how to manipulate books to make it best as possible, which is fine. That's normal. That's how you do
and
let's
say for the Blue Jays, they're owned by Rogers, right?
Yep.
So if they do this at the end, I don't know how the Canadian tax cycle works, but it works, December to December, January to December here. December 31st, if they cut that check to Vlad, that's a loss for them. So they can say, oh, we lost, $15 million extra at the end. See, so I mean, there's it's all about how you play with the money.
Do you think that they might have dynamic signing bonus years where they're like, hey, we want to balance it out? Kind of like how, like, if you have an investment, you would report the loss at the end of the year to counter it. I don't know. That might be too in the weeds.
I don't know. We need an accountant on here.
But $325 million in a signing bonus. That was an eye-popping number that came out.
It is, because you don't usually see that. You expect everyone just, you got 14 years, 500. Everyone's trying to figure out, how many millions per year is that?
Yeah.
But the way he did it, I mean, again, dude, it's kind of like the Shohei thing. California is changing the law because Shohei, and the way he did his, deferred money, they're trying to change the law. Yeah, They're trying to change the law because what he's going to do is he's going to get the money somewhere else. He's going to get the bulk of his money so he doesn't have to pay it in California. It's smart.
It is.
If the team will do it, and you can do it that way. But like for Vlad, the thing about Vlad that's smart is he still gets his money the same time frame. It's just broken up differently. He just gets smaller checks through the year. He gets one giant check at the beginning of the year, and he gets a bunch of smaller checks. Now, I remember when I was playing, there was a couple guys that got paid year-round. And there's some teams would be like, do you want to get paid 12 months or 6 months? I'm like, I'll just take the 6 months.
Some guys
would get paid year-round, yeah.
So you get a monthly deposit?
Yeah. So you get it the whole offseason, too.
So let's project this forward. Do you think this becomes more of a trend? When we see things happen, right? Like the first opt-out, whatever amount of years ago that was. And it's like, I wonder if there will be more of these. And I remember at the time, some people were like, nah, that's just for this player. Nope, there's a ton of opt-outs now, right? Because you bring up comps. So let's push this forward. Kyle Tucker is about to be a free agent. He lives in Florida. If he signs with the Yankees and has that New York City tax, which is awful, I dealt with it for years, does he say, cool, I'm getting $500 and I want $350 on the signing bonus?
If they'll do it.
And then do states start to try and come after this and change laws all across the country? Because it's going to be billions of dollars.
I mean, they'll try, but I don't know how they can do it.
Yeah. Because we could have a battle. If it becomes a trend, right? Like on the team side, if that's another leverage point for them to be like, sure, we'll do that.
I would think. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see how it plays out. There's very select few guys that can get this done, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tucker be one of them.
And you have to think about the fact that when you talk about like changing laws, like these politicians who are going after Shohei's money are funded by people who are making Shohei's money for a lot longer than 10 years. Like people that fund their campaigns and stuff. So I get it. It's like big forward facing, but they changed these laws for athletes. They're going to start changing them for other people. And teams want deferred money. Teams want to not, like if you have, let's say he's getting a $20 million signing bonus. Teams do not want to pay him $20 million from March to September. They would much rather hold that $20 million and then take it out of a fund that they put in there themselves, made money. They're not paying the whole money. So if they can pay that lump sum at the end of the year, teams, big corporations always want to do that.
Yes.
Always, especially when you're talking about this kind of money, because they're making extra millions on that money that they're paying out that they wouldn't had they had to pay him on the 1st and 15th of every year. So teams want deferred, and I'm sure teams probably even want the signing bonus, but I don't know all the schematics of it.
The only thing with the signing bonus risk is you do have a legit chance that games will be missed coming up, and then you aren't getting that discount on the games missed. Right?
Yeah,
if you miss a quarter of a season,
they're not worried about that for a year.
I mean, they shouldn't be, but I'm saying if you give a guy almost all of it in signing bonus. What Kratz really wanted to say, by the way, was there's some politicians that just want good seats at a Dodgers game. So they're going to put that out there, and then it'll fade.
Yeah, notice it hasn't been talked about for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah, it went away. Once they won the World Series, it went away kind of quickly.
Let me get my binoculars, see who's sitting in the suites these days at Dodger Stadium. Oh, I saw you yelling about the taxes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was interesting. I know some of you are going to watch this afterwards and be like, oh, it's so gross to talk about how the tax manipulation works. It's not. We're just giving you the information. We're not doing it.
No.
I've got
it. Wasn't us.
But I'll say this, by the way. Every person, I mean, I'm assuming you guys have accountants. People have accountants. When you do write-offs, that's kind of this. I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's similar.
It's in the category.
Yes, you're trying to save money on your taxes. Everybody tries to save money on their taxes.
Yes.
I mean, I write off Scott as a dependent.
Really? I thought you write me off as an expense. Oh, my expenses
You're a dependent.
That's the same thing.
Same thing, Scott. That clearly didn't have an account.
I had to pay for all of his gluten-free pretzels. All right, let's get out of here. Sam Blum coming up next. Writes for The Athletic, covers the Angels. We'll see if he thinks that the hot start is real. Is Devin Williams okay?
Yeah, why? Look at his career ERA in April, and I mean, he's fine. March and April, he's
fine.
The
top story on the site that I usually use to check a lot of baseball news was like, Devin Williams says he's okay. And so I clicked on it. I mean, it was kind of clickbaity. I'm like, what happened? And they're
he
like,
fell for it.
Yeah, he's given up 4 earned runs in 4 appearances. I'm like, yeah, I know. A few of them came in yesterday's game. His whiff rate on his changeup has gone down from 50% to 25%. I'm like, yeah, he's made 4 appearances. And he says he's a slow starter.
Let's give Aaron Boone some credit too. Some managers don't have the cojones to pull out a closer who was the best closer in the game and just got to your team. Some of them just say, hey, it's not my fault. We got Devin Williams. He was evaluating the game. It was going off the rails. He helped his team win the game in that situation. What's the value to Aaron Boone that Aaron Boone brings? Is a prime example of taking the best closer in the game out in a situation he didn't think he was going to get the job done.
Winning move. He's got cachet. That stuff matters. I know fans don't see that because they, for the most part, look at the manager as an extension of the front office. And so whatever results happen on the field, it's the manager's fault too. But you're right. I mean, that's a loss for some managers yesterday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably about half the managers in the league.
You know what? Ask the Astros. Brady threw a lot of pitches. He wasn't getting it done. There was a chance there for a spotter to go to someone else. He didn't. Now, I don't know what their bullpen situation was, but you're right.
It's a good call, Kratz. So, yes, we all agree. He's okay. We were watching yesterday's game, or at least part of it, while we were doing the show. And it's pretty good. Fried versus Flaherty. It was fun. Ben Rice with a 2-run dinger. Yeah, a lot of punch-outs. But the Yankees held on. 4-3 game for them. Detroit and the Yanks, 2 of the better teams in the American League. But are the Angels going to hang around in the American League West? We'll talk about that next with Sam Blum. What do you mean, say it normally?
You said it very arrogantly and sarcastically.
Mm-hmm. I'm not picking on the franchise. I'm just...
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Yes, you are. What
you are picking on the franchise. That's exactly what you're doing.
Do we think that the Giants are going to be this good? The Angels are going to be this good?
We'll see. Do we think the Giants are going to win the division a couple years ago? No, but they did.
Yeah, the last 3-4 years. Oh, the Pirates, they're 20
No, that was
12.
You. That was you.
I've never, ever in my lifetime thought they were good. They haven't been good since Stargell. Here we go. Sam Blum from The Athletic joining us right now.
I never forgot what Sam, because we had a talk the other day about Bobby Jenks, and I forgot what Sam looked like. So, no, good.
There he is.
How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
It's me.
Hey, Sam. Let's talk Angels. Are you buying this? What do you think so far? What's going right?
It's tough because I think I've seen this before to some extent. I mean, I look back to 2022. They started 27-17. Even last year, they were, I think, pretty good in the first couple weeks. So I think there are elements of this that are sustainable. I think some of the growth from the younger players is legitimate. Logan O'Hoppe, Kyron Paris, what he's doing, and I'm sure you guys will ask about him, is absurd. So I think that improvement, obviously, Paris probably won't hit 400, but there's parts of this team that I think are real. I like Jose Soriano is pitching right now. Jack Kohanowitz, Yusei Kikuchi. I mean, these guys look like they can maybe be the anchors in a rotation. But again, it's so early. I think that there's elements of the Angels organization and the way they have operated that haven't necessarily changed. And, those are the reasons why they've not really succeeded over the years. So, when you get to the point where, you need to reach into the depths of your organization, when you when you sustain a losing streak, like how do you respond to that? I think there are parts of this that, the jury's still very much out 10, 11 games into the season, but it's optimistic, I think, based on maybe what the expectations were just a couple weeks ago.
But didn't Perry Managian come on our show and say, oh, we're building this team for more slug? What do they have in the first week and a half, 2 weeks of the season? More slug. So isn't this to perfection of what Perry Managian was trying to build that they didn't have last year?
Yeah, I definitely think the first 11 games could not have drawn it up any better for them. They're and it's not just slug. I mean, I don't think anyone thought Kyron Paris would hit 5 home runs in 8 games, but yeah, I mean, I think the idea was when they brought in Jorge Soler, I mean, you'd have a legitimate middle of the order bat. It's also interesting that Mike Trout's hitting 170, 180 right now, and they're still doing this. So if he ever gets hot, when he gets hot, that will be, an added boost. Same as getting Zach Neto back, which I think they were hoping to have happen at the end of the month. So, there's reinforcements potentially even coming along. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of exactly as they drew it up. I just want to see it over a longer period of time, but this is, like I said, it's an optimistic outlook, a week and a half in.
Sam, I'm going to ask this because they're playing in Steinbrenner Field. Is this the product of Steinbrenner Field? Because Ward hit a home run to right field today that probably wasn't a homer anywhere except for Yankee Stadium and Steinbrenner Field. All their home runs seem to be going to right field. Did we need to wait? Because the last 4 games they've hit a ton of home runs, or 3 games and 4 counting today. They've hit a ton of home runs in Steinbrenner Field. Do we need to wait until they get back to Anaheim when the Marine layer comes in and they're trying to hit, the balls off the rocks out there in left center and see if this team really has this power, or is this a product of where they played and who they played?
Well, probably a little. I mean, I think the home runs this week have been, I think that ballpark's going to be ridiculous all summer. I mean, just from watching the last 3 days, it's, everything, especially out to right field. I think there were 6 home runs yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, all went to right field, and 2 of them were less than 330 feet. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting ballpark. I think big picture, though, that's not necessarily, they were hitting home runs over the weekend against Cleveland, quite in a lot of, in high numbers. So are they going to be the best power hitting team ever? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're talking about such a small sample size that it's hard to know exactly what you get. I mean, the Angels, I think, have a negative run differential on the season. So there are certain things that look really good. There are certain things you got to wait to see. But as far as the home runs, I do think the lineup has more pop. But yeah, playing in Steinbrenner Field for every team this year is going to be a boost. That's my takeaway from watching from just a few days, especially when it gets to the summer months and you're talking about a lot of humidity and the ball traveling maybe more than it would at Yankee Stadium under the same dimensions.
What about that depth? You said the depth, and we know all their depth is in the big leagues. Do they have anybody when those injuries start to come up? Because they have a draft pick from last year. Ryan Johnson's in the big leagues, was drafted last year. So where's that depth going to come from?
I think that's going to be the biggest question because, the last couple of years, the Angels have used 66 players each of the last 2 seasons. This is that's where it always kind of falls apart for them. And so I think if they're able to stay really healthy, that will at the very least put them in position to maybe compete this season or be in better position than they were last year. But when it comes to that depth, that's where the biggest question mark is. Today they called up J.D. Davis because Yohan Moncada went on the IL. Not that Moncada was lighting the world on fire, but now you're kind of testing that. This is maybe that first guy up, at least in the position player core, and you got to see what you have. I mean, J.D. Davis really wasn't a very good big league player last year. Really wasn't very good in spring. So, is he going to come in and be maybe what he was 2 or 3 years ago, or is he going to be the player that we've maybe gotten used to seeing more recently? So I think that's what it is. I mean, in the minor leagues, I don't think they really have tons of options, tons of big league ready options, especially in the outfield. That's going to be an issue. So they got to keep guys healthy. And if they're able to do that, I think they'll be in position to at least compete. But, if they don't, I would be hard pressed to see it really paying off because unless you got a bunch of Kyron Parises who just kind of come out of nowhere to be the best player in baseball, it's going to be tough.
By the way, I can't believe Moncada's on the IL. No way. I mean, as a White Sox fan, I never saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Just saying. Tim Anderson's doing all right. Defensively.
No.
Defensively, he's doing all right.
Not on offense.
But defensively, he's doing fine.
Yeah.
All right. But you mentioned what's that? Go ahead, Sam.
No, I was going to say, saved them some runs yesterday, but he's been very good defensively, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned Kyron Paris. Did anybody see this coming? I mean, Logan O'Hoppe, okay, I can understand because he's had a little bit of a track record. He had some success, but Paris really hasn't. And then all of a sudden, I mean, he seems like every time he steps up to the plate, he's a home run threat. Did anybody in the Angels organization see this coming?
Listen, he's been a prospect. He's been in the big leagues a couple times. But like last year at Double-A, he hit .091, I think. Like he was really just – and that it's a credit to him because I think he recognized, I can maybe be a guy that comes up and down and plays some big league games every year. But am I going to be a legitimate big leaguer with the way that I go about things now? And I think he realized that the answer to that was no. And so he went and, sought out, Aaron Judge's hitting coach is an interesting guy if you look him up on Twitter. But he, he basically revamped his entire approach, and it paid off for him like immediately. And I think he started seeing that in spring training. I mean, he was not expected to make the big league roster. They cut Mickey Moniak to get him on the big league roster. And then even when the season started, he was not an everyday player. Ron Washington was like booed heavily before the season opener at like a, kind of like they do a red carpet event, and he was getting interviewed and they asked if Kyron Paris is in the lineup. Wash said no, and he got booed. And it's just like the fans are picking up on this. I think the organization is slowly starting to realize, okay, we got to play this guy like every single game. He's just worked his way into this position. So to answer your question, no, I don't think anybody really saw this coming, but they're certainly willing to capitalize on it now.
Okay, let's go to another great story. And I love to hear stories like that where guys go to work, make changes, and become what they can become. It's awesome to know hard work pays off. Hardworking guy, Kenley Jansen. I said yesterday he's a Hall of Famer. Do you think you and your writer friends will vote him into the Hall of Fame?
Man, I don't have a vote for another. I guess my vote probably will come up right when Jansen's eligible. I mean, although he could still be pitching for a couple of years. I know he's chasing 500. It's tough to answer that without like really being someone that studies all the criteria. But I mean, if he's like going to finish third all time in career saves, I mean I don't see why. To me, it seems like a shoo-in. But again, I haven't really studied all the advanced numbers behind it, and maybe that's something I'll get to do in 5 years, but or 6 years or however long it is. But what he's doing, and I think it's cool that he's doing it back in Southern California. He seems to really be vibing with this team, and the way he got his 450th save the other night with stranding a runner at third with 0 outs in a 1-run game, I think was really cool. And it's been a really good start for him, and we'll see if he's able to get 500 this year. The Angels will have had a very good season.
If he gets 50 more saves this year, the Angels have had an incredible season.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
I mean, seriously.
Oh, yeah, we're talking a World Series team. Yeah,
we're talking about definitely a playoff team. I don't know about a World Series team. But definitely we'll get to see Mike Trout in the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, it was a good move. In the offseason.
I questioned it too because I didn't know what they were going to do with Ben Joyce, but Ben Joyce has been a weapon for him in the 7th and the 8th to get to Kenley. So
yeah, is he okay? By the way, he was a few ticks down the other day.
Right? I'm just not in Tampa and to Houston tomorrow, but from what I've read from reporters there, I believe Jeff Fletcher said that it wasn't a serious injury or anything. He just wasn't hitting his spots. I mean, again, his velo was down, so that would be concerning to me, to be honest with you. But we'll see the next time he comes out and how that looks. And with Ben Joyce, big picture, he's talked so much about wanting to throw like 107, 108. Like it's a legitimate goal for him to reach those velo numbers. And my thing, and I'm not a scientist, an expert, a pitching guy, but like that just seems like a silly kind of. He's so effective at 101, 102, but really with his sinker, that's the most effective pitch for him. I don't necessarily see the value in him like really, rearing back and trying to throw 107, especially with his injury history. So, if he can kind of stay in that 101 range, which is really where he kind of sits, to be honest with you, then that's quite good for him.
Imagine sitting down with Ben Joyce, like, hey, we're just going to need you to stay around that 101 range, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's not push the 105.
Let's not try to get to 108.
Yeah. If you told me that when I was a kid, I'd be like, that's a fake movie. Okay. Next up, I wanted to ask you about Logan O'Hoppe. Off to a hot start with the bat, and he comes on the show pretty frequently. Something that stood out was a conversation he said he had with Travis d'Arnaud, who told him that he should be himself more and just have fun. Have you seen that from him? We tried to get into it more with him, and he kind of gave us TBD, like, let me see how I let my emotions out a little bit differently. But it was about trying to not be a certain way because everyone else wants you to be, buttoned up and serious. Like if you're goofy, be goofy. If you're super emotional, be super emotional. Have you seen any of that from him? And if not, at least any impact that Travis is making there?
Yeah, I think that's really well said because, with Logan, like, being around that team last year when they would lose, it was something that he took incredibly personally. And I think that, sometimes you see guys upset after losses and it feels like, that's just kind of the way you have to be because you lost. I think with Logan, it was something that really, really, like, it wasn't an act. It was like very legitimately tough for him to kind of deal with a lot of the failures of last season, not just with that team, but he really struggled himself down the stretch. In the last 2 months, just wasn't a very good hitter. And so I think what we've seen so far this year, and I'll be curious to see kind of how he responds to a slump and how he responds to a losing streak and these things when there is adversity. But I think to your point, like he's someone that, he's talked about being very proactive about, working on himself, being a little more neutral, even when they win, even when things are good, to not like let that emotion be too high or too low. And it sounds cliche, but I do think there's a legitimate element to it, especially with him. And especially kind of what I've seen from him last year and the way he kind of handled that stuff. And I wrote a whole story about that. So, he's I think there's a lot of maturity there. He's always been, someone that came across to me as incredibly mature. But they're looking at him to be the leader. When they lose, he's the guy you go to. When they win, he's the guy you go to in the clubhouse. I'm talking about the beat writers. So, he's kind of taken on that team leader role. And I think the older he gets, and that's going to be something he does even more. And I honestly think the Angels should look into, an extension for him. They haven't done that with any of the young players. And, you're seeing it this year, the way that the season started. Like there's a value in keeping some of these guys long-term. Other teams are doing that. And I don't think the Angels will be in a position to afford guys like Ohapi and Neto or Soriano when they hit free agency. If, they don't start, making that proactive effort to, get 1 or 2 extra years out of, maybe it's some sort of early extension.
I love it. I love Logan. As a former catcher, guess what? Guess who's always the guy who stands there and answers the question? Usually the catcher. So because you see everything and everyone usually you're smartest and they want to know what you have to say. So I love that about Logan. I love he's taking the next step in his career. Before I let you go, Sam, I mentioned that we had talked on the phone. I don't know. Has the article that we talked about, has that come out yet?
It has not till early next week. But
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to dig too much into your story, but we had a conversation about a former teammate of mine. We lost Octavio Dotel recently. He was a former teammate of mine. We have another teammate of mine who was an Angels prospect, Bobby Jenks, who's battling the cancer right now. Any updates on the story? I know I've talked about a little bit on here, and people out there, I don't know how many know the story. I don't want to ruin your story, but he asked me for Bobby Jenks stories and what was going on and what I thought of Bobby as a person. So I don't know, Sam, if you can get into it or not.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for people to read the story when it comes out next week, but, I would say that it's, I talked to him on the phone. I think what the challenge is so great for his family right now. And, it's hard to like really describe him when I'm just sitting here talking about him and about it. But I appreciated that he gave me this time, and he's dealing with a really, really tough diagnosis. But one of the reasons I asked to talk to him and the reason I wanted to do the story is, I read some of his comments that he gave to Scott Merkin a couple months ago about just, trying to stay positive through this. And it came through in the way that he talked about it. And his belief, I believe, is genuine that he will battle this. And, I know he's very, very motivated to get back to Chicago in early July when you guys have your 20-year reunion. I think that's something that he made very clear to his doctors, from my understanding. And it's something that I think he's incredibly motivated by. So, there's science, there's medicine, there's a lot of reasons that maybe will prevent him from being able to do it. But I think we can all just hope and pray that he's well enough and he's healthy enough to be able to have that moment, because it would be special, not just for you and your teammates, not just for Bobby, but also for just like the thousands and thousands of White Sox fans that really, really care about him. And that's something I've learned a lot by reporting the story too. So, and I appreciate your time talking with me about it, and hope everyone reads it when it comes out next week.
I'll definitely read it, but I just want to say thank you for doing that and bringing it to light. And then also, I mean, the thing about Bobby is that if people that remember him, he was like a larger than life figure. So then to have him be the one that is going through this, it seems like it's not real, right? Because he was such a big guy, he was like 300 pounds and just this barrel chested dude that would walk out there with the long goatee and the whole deal. That's why I think for a lot of people it's hard for them to look at it and say, man, how does Bobby Jenks be the one that gets this? And so to hear that he's being so positive and handling it as well as you could, because I don't know how I would personally handle it if a doctor came to me and said, yeah, you have the cancer and it's not a great diagnosis, so how do you go? But I mean, I know talking to him, texting with him, he's very positive about it. We'll see. So prayers to Bobby, obviously, and obviously I'll read your story when it comes out.
Yeah, no, thank you. And his family's been amazing, and I appreciate them kind of letting me in, because it's we didn't know each other or anything like that, so it's been a process, but it's been I think a very positive one to get to know them, and what they're doing is really heroic too. So yeah, no, and you're right, it's hard to imagine, but yeah, I mean, there's really no other words.
Yeah, those are the important ones that we want to read. So obviously, credit to your bosses for letting you put that together as you're covering the Angels too. I know you don't just do Angels coverage. There've been a few good ones. Actually, I encourage everyone to read the latest that you were a part of with the title inflation going on in baseball. But anyway, the Bobby Jenks story is important. Yeah, and we're thinking about him and his family. Sam, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you again soon.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Here.
Thank you. Yeah, Sam Blum. You can catch his articles in The Athletic. One of the best.
Let me tell you how much I love my Homage shirt. I mean, listen, it's lightweight material, stretchy. This is the kind of stuff, Scott, that you can throw in the washer and dryer, and it's going to come out looking the exact same. The most important thing is you can get your favorite fan gear, man. You know me. I was once a Detroit Tiger 3 different decades, so I got to represent the old school D. You see it, the Tiger on the front. And not even, you've got options. Whatever you want, your favorite team. Make sure, biggest thing you do, go get that starter jacket. I know we're still in spring, still going to be cool in a lot of places. Make sure you get the starter jacket. It is fire.
There you go, Cam. Visit homage.com/FoulTerritory. Use code FoulTerritory for 20% off for first-time Homage shoppers. They also have Snoopy.
Do they?
They do.
I know I'm mad, though, because they sent me Snoopy. Here, you can see Snoopy. Play ball. Hold up.
Higher.
Play there ball. There we go. But I'm more of a Lucy person. I'm not going to lie. Snoopy's great, but I was more of a Lucy person. I was more of a let's let Scott try and kick the ball, and I'll pull it out from under and then watch him do the backflips down the football field. So as much as everyone loves Snoopy, I'm more of a Lucy.
Okay, noted. Lucy is on the website as well. So
can we get one of you trying? Can we get video of you trying to kick a football and me going whoop and you go whoop?
What about me with a microphone? You're about to finally let me talk and then whoop.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
I let you talk too much. That's probably the problem.
True. Well, if you had a mute button, you could just.
I need like a
click me off.
Remember the easy button they used to have at that whatever the company was.
The easy button.
Homage,
also,
give me an easy button.
Who has Around the Horn, the show that's going away on
they have a mute button.
On ESPN. They do mute buttons. They mute everybody. I used to like that when I was a kid. Like, shut that guy up. Mute him. Here, real quick, we'll hit some other game action here before we get into the next story when the TV crowd comes back. So the Jays took the first 3 against the Red Sox. They got a chance to sweep them.
Whoa-wee. Statement series. They got Bassett going tonight. They win today. They beat Crochet.
Mm-hmm.
Beat Houck.
Bassett looks damn good so far this year, too.
They got
what, on the other side of
they
the
got Buehler
matchup?
going tonight for the Red Sox. So, I mean, that's a good matchup.
Yeah. I mean, Houck was good, but Gossman, 8 innings, 4 hits, 10 punch-outs. Yeah, 2-1 win. 6-7 Red Sox. Jays are 8-5.
Vladdy Daddy. By the way, another homer for the Angels, right center.
To that, what is that? Like a wind tunnel out there? It just pops up and just keeps going. It's going to be fun to watch games there. Here we go. We're back. Let's talk about a Ken Rosenthal story that covered Corbin Burns' departure from the Baltimore Orioles. So we finally got some numbers on what the offer was for him. And people are like, why are you talking about that now? Because we just got the information. If we brought this up in the offseason, this would be the biggest story for a few days. So he basically said the Red Sox made a short-term offer and the Orioles made a short-term offer. The Orioles one we got the details on. 4 years, $180 million. $45 million a year would have set a record for a pitcher, not counting the unicorn Shohei Ohtani. It would have been the highest average annual value. But it was not the most guaranteed money offered. And I would say 90% of the time, if not more, the most guaranteed money in free agency is what is going to command the pitcher, especially.
Another homer to center, by the way. Just saying.
That is insane. Wow.
Like, I'm talking, sorry. I know you're going about
I actually
Corbin Burns, but another homer at Steinbrenner. I'm talking like way out. How did I get that one? Taylor Ward did another one? Jeez.
Steinbrenner Field, right field.
Well, this one was just left of center. But I mean, it went out there almost on Dale Mabry.
It's a gorgeous day outside in Florida. We're close enough that the weather's the same. Anyway, this was cute, but it was never going to win him over.
What was the Red Sox offer?
We didn't get that, but we got the Orioles term.
It was Orioles were 4-180.
Yeah, so the Red Sox,
and
he signed for 4 years. He signed for 6 years, $210. Now there were deferrals in the deal that he signed, so it wasn't as far apart as it looks on paper. Okay.
Yes, but two things about this. Where does he live?
Arizona. But
it was over. They offered more years, more money. It was over.
It was
over. I don't care. The Orioles made a nice little run, but if you have a guy
6,250,
they would have to overpay him.
They
would have had to beat it by a big mark.
Well, we always knew that.
I agree, but we never thought the Orioles would get to 4-180, did we?
I guess not. But the Orioles acted like they did everything they could. Did they do everything they could when you make a 4-year offer to the best pitcher on the market who's looking for more years and obviously the biggest guarantee? Like, they didn't beat the offer. So for them to say like, oh yeah, we did what we were supposed to do. He wanted to go to Arizona.
Well, he did.
But he did want to go there, but everybody has Arizona, a price.
If you remember, we talked to him. He said Arizona wasn't even in until the end.
Yes.
And they were like, wait, we can actually get Corbin Burns for this? We'll take it.
That's what I'm saying is, so if you're Baltimore and you threw a 6-220 at him before that even popped up,
he probably would have taken it.
You would have taken it.
But listen, for him to get to go home where he lives with his family and pitch in a place where he doesn't have to move for spring training and he's there year round, he knows he's going to be there, they would have had to blow it out of the water once he got that offer, and they weren't going to do that. Listen, the 4-180 is nice, it's cool and all, but Corbin was looking for at least 5. He got 6. Now he can end his career at home and be happy. So good for you, Corbin. But you know what? Good for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, of course. But the story here
is that the Orioles said they tried and they didn't get to the number that was good enough.
Yeah. And so people are like, that's cool that you offered him a lot of short-term money. That stuff's happened a lot over the years. Remember the Dodgers made that big offer to Bryce Harper, but it was for a low year total? How often does that really happen? Unless it's got the big opt-out in it, like Bregman, which really you can just look at it as a 1-year deal, unless it's got an opt-out right away. And the Orioles one didn't have an opt-out. Oh, the Diamondbacks one has an opt-out after 2 years.
I don't see him opting out.
I agree.
Maybe
but I'm
he
just
will.
saying.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that he is. I don't know that he will. Maybe. But I can't imagine him being in the place. The only way I could see him opting out is doing something where he could get more money from the Diamondbacks because he wants to stay there. But he has he has young kids. He's happy there. His kids are going to be getting into school age at that time. I just don't see him. I mean, maybe, but if he goes out and has 2 great years, maybe, but still, I think it'd be one of those, like, I'm going to opt out, wink, wink, give me a little bit more for the same amount of time and we'll call it even.
Yeah, tell Marte, just kind of help them spread out money.
Yeah.
Orioles have a 5.37 starting pitching ERA.
The Orioles, I know Kratz put them 3 on their power rankings. Not as bad as me putting the Nats 1 on mine because they just beat the Dodgers in a series, but they're starting pitching with Eflin down, Grayson down. Their starting pitching's in trouble. Kramer got whacked yesterday.
Kramer and Morton have ERAs to the moon right now. They have the 2 worst starting pitching ERAs.
This is the thing we said going into it, and we didn't think they addressed it enough with Sugiano?
Shigano and Morton were the big moves.
Big moves. And listen, Charlie Morton's 42 years old? 41 or 42?
Eventually,
it catches up to everybody.
It does, and I don't want to be that guy because you don't like to root for your prediction when it's like this, but I do Baltimore radio spots a lot, and I'm like, guys, I'm worried that
they don't have enough.
And it just stops for Charlie. Eventually, he's just up there. You're not going to pitch till you're 48, right? Waino did it for a while, and then it went away. They've got some similarities.
By the way, another homer right down the right field line for Mike Trout. I mean, right 315 feet.
Even like 5 homers.
Oh, my gosh. And the wind's blowing out. Guess which way? Left to right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's just hitting. Like, Mike Trout literally popped it up and it went in the first row at Steinbrenner. It's amazing.
It's fun. It's fun. People like homers. Wow. But anyway, their rotation right now is Morton, Kramer, Shigano, Cade Povich. And sure, there's going to be guys coming back, but you got to get to the playoffs.
That's what we're worried about. And if you have dudes hurt, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they react.
My thing was on this story, okay, you didn't get Burns. That's cool.
Go get
Jeffrey Springs was available via trade. Obviously, Crochet was the big prize available via trade. Who else? There were plenty of names available.
Plenty of names you could have won. Dylan Cease was talked about being possible trade bait. I mean, there's a million people.
Fried was available. Blake Snell was available.
Blake Snell wasn't going there.
Who else was traded too?
I don't know. Dude, that was a long time ago. Juan Soto got traded.
How about Jesus Luzardo?
Oh, there's a good one.
No phone call for Jesus Luzardo?
I don't know. Maybe they did call. I don't know.
Okay.
But they made a trade with the Marlins last year. It didn't go so good.
Yeah, they traded for the wrong dude. Jesus Luzardo was the one, not Trevor Rogers. Yeah,
I know. Orioles fans, I feel for you. It's you have the offense to get there. Do you have enough pitching? That's the question.
You built it, but you didn't put the cherry on top. And you could have. I'm not saying they're cheap. They added $66 million of payroll.
Well, this is not a knock on Mike Elias, but he's never been in this situation to get. He's always been remember in Houston, he was behind Lunau, and then he goes to Baltimore. So he's never been in charge when he had to take that next step. I'm not saying he doesn't know how to do it, but do you know how to take that next step? Like when Theo went to Chicago, right? He had done it with the Red Sox. So when it came time for him to go get John Lester and John Lackey and Jason Hayward and these guys to finish the deal, he went out and did it. Now, he had backing from the ownership, which the new ownership, Rothstein.
With Rubenstein with
Rubenstein,
Baltimore.
sorry.
Yeah.
With Baltimore said he has the backing to go do it, but did he go about it the right way? I know he got Tyler O'Neill and he got Shigano and he got some other pieces. He got Morton. They added money, but did they add the piece that could take him to the next step? They haven't won a playoff game with this group. Not a series, a game. They've been swept twice.
To me, Elias in his situation right now reminds me of, this is going to be a weird one, Alex Anthopoulos with the Blue Jays. There were a couple times where
he went for it though.
No, well, he went for it after he learned
David Price, Josh Donaldson. I mean, he went after it.
After he originally, for previous seasons, was being very cautious. He's on the record on it. I learned my lesson. I did that. And then all of a sudden, everything was hitting, right? Like, it wasn't just success on the field. Like, the whole vibe of the team changed because Bautista called them out. I think it was the year before when they did nothing and they were in range. So anyway, he still talks about that now and says how that experience in Toronto made him who he is now. And he is one of the best GMs or president of baseball operations in baseball. So I think Elias is going through that learning curve right now. That's what it feels like.
Always, as a player, always go for it. You always want your team to go for it.
Yeah, of course.
As a player, because it's not your money.
Yeah, but they had money to spend. I'm still confused about what happened this offseason, and right now it's playing out that way. All right, let's talk about a team that's clicking. They picked up a dub last night. Trey Turner with his first homer of the season, and Bryce went deep for the Phillies. Jim Salisbury from the Phillies show back on FT Next. BETMGM Locks.
Oh, man, that's bad.
I'm cold right now. I got hot for a little, and then I feel really cold. I don't know how you feel, but I'm not even confident
you know what
about
problem
tonight.
I feel rushed right now with my picks. So, but
well, take your time. We're gonna do it in the
No,
next...
I don't mean that. I mean when I pick them in the morning. When it's time to pick them.
There we are.
But today I got one early. I'm still up, but I got one early today, so I liked what I saw.
Yeah, you are still up. I'm just down a little touch.
At least you're off dinner for two, Scott.
Yeah, I'm down one cocktail in New York
I was
City.
down 3K last year, and I came back to win.
You did. You're a champ. So we'll go over our picks in a little bit. The thing I wanted to ask you about right now from a betting perspective and just from a fan perspective is what's been distracting you the entire day. How do you bet on games right now in Steinbrenner Field?
Homers. Apparently you bet. Homers.
So are you betting overs?
Because
you're
only
down
one team.
here.
Well, only one team's hitting them. I don't know what the line was today, but it's 7-1 in the fifth inning. I tell you what you need to do. You almost need to go Papelbon right now and bet against the White Sox every day.
Oh,
because they've lost 7 in a row. They're down big time right now.
And we're going to talk about that game from yesterday.
But you know what's funny? Pap didn't win because the guy got hurt. And he took the run line 1.5, and they scored one. The dude got hurt.
Oh, my God.
That's how he lost, so it serves him right.
He got run lined.
But
I got run lined the last 2 days. I got run lined yesterday. Dodgers only won by a run.
I mean, Sacramento was only 2-1 yesterday. How's that even possible? I should have known.
They're not going to win every game $1 billion to.
But I mean, I thought the Padres would score more than 2.
I know.
And they had all kinds of chances to score.
Man, Padres can pitch.
Padres can pitch good.
Yeah. But this looks fun to me. Like I'm going to
go
to a game in Tampa.
The Rays, all their games are stacked early in the year at home. So like 50, I think 52 of their 81 home games are before the All-Star break or something crazy.
Because it's too hot.
Because then they're too hot and they're worried about rain. So as it gets hotter there, guess what the ball's going to keep doing? It's going to keep flying more and more, and the wind will pick up too. And if it always blows out, I remember playing there, it always blew out. There's going to be some big numbers. It's going to be like Sacramento again. They're playing in a minor league park.
It's different.
It is. I'm sorry. Sacramento, look at all the runs that are scoring in Sacramento. Mets are going to Sacramento. I think Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor are sitting there going, oh, I can't wait to hit these 3 days.
That's how it is with Colorado. When you talk to people about Colorado, players will be like, oh, we're going to Colorado.
Get hot. About to get hot, boys.
Time to get paid.
Dude's lining up at the bat rack.
That's right. There we go. Our buddy Jim Salisbury with the nice Philly show shirt. That's nice.
How you doing, guys?
Good. Hey, good. How are you? And how do the Phillies look right now, Jim?
They look pretty good. I mean, tonight they're going to go for another series win. And that's, to me, kind of the key. Win series, stack them up, and you're going good places. So I heard you guys mention Luzardo a little bit a few minutes ago, and he'll be on the mound tonight. He's had 2 really good ones so far, racking up those strikeouts. He's added a little wrinkle with that sweeper, and he looks really good. So looking forward to that one tonight. But they've played very well. There's some concerns here and there, but who doesn't have concerns here and there?
Do you think that more teams should have given Jesus Luzardo more of a look? I remember when that trade was made. You can tell me more about the return package, but
yeah,
I was like, wow, the Phillies got him?
Yeah. I thought it was a heck of a trade. And I don't know, where the Marlins were and what they were entertaining. Phillies had a really good shortstop. They gave up a good young shortstop prospect named Starlin Caba, and they gave up an speedy outfielder. Last name of Boyd. And, it was the Phillies. They had some middle infield depth in the minor leagues, and Cobb is a very good prospect. But they had a couple other guys they like as well in the middle infield, most notably Aiden Miller. So, you could deal Caba and get a guy like Luzardo. 2 years of control there. Obviously came with some fine print. He didn't pitch a lot last year. I think only 12 starts, had that stress reaction in his back. But they checked him out really good medically and felt comfortable making the deal. And if he looks as good as he has looked so far and stays healthy, he's going to be a good one. I think you guys both know he's got pretty much top of the rotation stuff when he's on, when he's healthy. And if healthy, I like a guy turning it on towards free agency with 2 years to go. Ranger Suarez hits free agency after this season. So if he moves on, which I have a feeling he might, Luzardo steps into that spot. But, right now, to me, the Phillies were around here in Philadelphia. A lot of people criticize them for not doing a lot this winter. And, I can understand where people were coming from compared to some of the big, sexy signings of the last handful of winters, Harper, Turner, Castellanos, Schwarber, before that Wheeler, and then, retaining Wheeler, retaining Real Muto. Those were big headline grabbing transactions. Phillies didn't have those this winter, but I think to say they did nothing is just not correct when you look at the performance of Jesus Luzardo and the potential upside there.
Jim, you mentioned Luzardo, but what about Taijuan Walker? He's had 2 good starts for this team. I mean, they were booing the crap out of him on opening day, right, when he got introduced. So now he's gone out and had 2 great starts. Can he help them for the rest of the year? Because I know he's changed some things. He's changed some grips, and he's changed his body a little bit, and he's made some adjustments. But can Taijuan Walker help this team for the rest of the year and be in their rotation? I know when Ranger comes back, we'll see. But, I mean, this seems like a guy that they're going to need it for a long haul.
Absolutely. You never can have enough starting pitching. You know that, AJ. And I think that's one of well, there were a couple reasons that they were reluctant to move on from him this winter. I don't think they could find a taker. He was owed $36 million. You don't just walk away from that. Plus, you try something remedial with him, and maybe he can provide you some depth. And now he's providing them more than depth. He's made 2 starts, hasn't given up a run in 9 innings. Done a really good job for this team, and hats off to him because, he endured it last year. This is not not an easy place to play. It's a tough city to play in. And he endured a lot last year. He really, really heard it. But, he put his faith in, their pitching program. Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, and his staff put together an off-season conditioning, throwing, workout program, whatever you want to call it. And he went to work on that in Arizona. He's built some more arm strength. He's gotten in better shape. He's added a little bit of velo, so he's a tick up there. That's helped really, everything, especially his splitter. But you mentioned the boos. He was booed in spring training. Who gets booed in spring training, other than maybe like an opponent kind of mockingly? I mean, he was booed his last 2 outings in Clearwater, the friendliest place on earth. And that couldn't have been easy. He's booed on opening day during introductions. And, he comes out and during the first homestand and pitched a good ball game in Atlanta the other night. And he was really, listening to him speak after his start in Philadelphia when he beat the Rockies. It was kind of moving, actually, because he said his mom was there and she had tears in her eyes up in the stands. And somebody asked him, has she ever cried at one of your games before? And he said, yeah, here last year when I was booed. So nice human story. Do I think he can help them? Sure, I do. I think he can help them all year, whether it's somewhere in the bullpen as a spot starter when Suarez comes back. It's like that saying, if you hit, they will find a place for you. If you get outs, they will find a place for you. So what we're seeing from Taijuan Walker right now is probably unexpected and, a nice little bonus. So hats off to him.
Agreed. Now, listen, on this show all the time, we talk about the owners and how we like some owners and how they handle their teams and how they don't. Listen, John Middleton's a stud when it comes to owning the team. He wants to win. He's engaged with the fans. He's engaged with the media. He shows his emotion. I tell the story. I saw him last year in Citi Field when they lost, and just the look on his face, like this can't happen again, right? Walking through the tunnel after the Phillies had lost to the Mets. And then he comes out with his article or his interview he did the other day. I think it was with you, wasn't it the Phillies show, right?
Middleton was on the Phillies show.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
It was
and
awesome.
He's talking about the age of the team and how he wants to win. He wants to do the parade and all that stuff. Like, how cool is that to have an owner that just wants to rock and win? I mean, he's like, yeah, I know I'm spending a lot of money, but I want to win. And that's so awesome to hear for not only like a fan that's not a Phillies fan, but for Phillies fans, I'm fired up, boy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Philadelphian, and on top of it, he's very competitive. And on top of it all, if you get out of line, he'll put you in a half Nelson. He was a college wrestling champion, during his college days. So competitive, puts his money where his mouth is, wants it badly for his city, for his town, for the fan base, and for himself. He flat out admits that the performance of the Phillies is his legacy, and he wants one really bad. I mean, they won one in 2008. He was an investor in the team, but now he's the point man, and he wants it badly. He's a huge Eagles fan. He has seen them win 2 of them. He's been in Jeffrey Lurie's box for both of them. And, he wants nothing more than to raise one. And like I said, puts his money where his mouth is. They're like 3rd in payroll. I think just a little bit behind the Mets, $300 million, give or take. And if they need to fix a hole at the deadline, he will write more checks if he has to. So, he's not one of these guys that is going to hold back here and there. And he speaks his mind. He's very upfront about how much he wants it. He's close to the players. Players like playing for him. They put the players. I mean, you can talk to players about what a place this is to play. They really put the players and their families first. It's a very desirable destination. 3 years in a row they've been to the postseason and come up short. And the clock is ticking on this nucleus. Everybody knows it. And they want it badly, and they have a team that's capable of doing it. And if there's a hole to fill, they'll do it at the deadline if they have to.
I liked his answer about the Dodgers. It was right before the series was starting, and he was like, "Hey, I remember the season series last year going pretty well for us, and that time wasn't even close." And then they go out and take it to the Dodgers over this past weekend. So, do you think that the Phillies match up well against LA?
Well, we just saw they did, right? I mean, they won a series there. I do think in October, everything potentially can be different. Everything is magnified, and you have to do, I know it's cliche, but you have to do little things. And the Phillies cannot afford cold spells offensively like they've had the last 2 autumns. I mean, they were sitting pretty in 23. They were putting teams through the wood chipper. I thought they were going to win the World Series in 23. And then all of a sudden they came back home from Arizona and the bats went cold. Last year, game 1 against the Mets, they get a leadoff home run from Schwarber and a great pitching performance from Zach Wheeler, 7 shutout. And they don't close the deal. They don't win that game. That series turns right in that game. I think this team has put a lot of pressure on itself in October, and it has shown in the offense. Leaving the strike zone, not bringing balls into the strike zone, pressing offensively. So they have to avoid that. But if they do that, anybody can beat anybody in October. I really believe that. The Dodgers have really built a super team. We saw last year how good they can be in October. They really do a lot of the little things. So although the Phillies beat them last week and it was exciting and it electrified everybody in town, I think October baseball is completely different, but I also think the Phillies can beat anybody, especially with this starting pitching staff. They give you a chance every night, the starting pitching staff. Maybe some hole here or there in the bullpen they need to address, and they need to remain consistent offensively. But, they got that starting pitching that's always going to give you'll always take that.
I want to ask you about Kyle Schwarber. What do you think of the start that he's off to? And I know you spoke about him on the Phillies show the other day. If you want to let everyone know what you said there.
Oh, he's just been smoking. I mean, absolutely. What a great signing he's been. When you look back, this is his 4th year. He signed a 4-year, $79 million deal worth every penny. A great signing. They have 3 guys on this team. Really 4 guys, probably would include Real Muto. Turner, Harper, and Zach Wheeler. Especially Harper, Wheeler, and Schwarber. They've been great signings for this team. We haven't seen Trey Turner really turn it on yet like I think he can. Hit a big home run last night. Still a lot of years left on that contract. But you talk about Schwarber, Harper, Wheeler. Great signings. And I tell you, Schwarber's influence is felt, in the batter's box nightly. They didn't go to the playoffs for 10 years before he got here. 10 straight seasons. He comes here. They bat him leadoff. He's unconventional in the leadoff hole. A lot of people squawk about it, but they go to the postseason 3 years in a row with him in the leadoff hole. Hits a whole bunch of home runs. Last year, hit 15 leadoff home runs. They won 13 of those games. So it's an early impact. It's fun to watch. When he's red hot like he is now, he's an awful lot of fun to watch. Great hand-eye coordination. Powerful, short, powerful swing. Generates hellacious bat head speed and never comes out of his swing. Always remains balanced. Hits the ball really hard. He's just an impactful guy between the lines. And in that clubhouse, he is a tremendous leader. I've seen some good ones over the years. I go back to Darren Dalton, and this guy is right there. The way he cares for his teammates, the way he pulls for his teammates, the way he builds them up, the way he always has their best interests in mind, the way he sacrifices for them. So he's been a total package signing. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. He's going to be a free agent after the season. I think everybody would love to have him back. But if I'm a team out there that is on the doorstep, and like the Phillies are, but if I'm a young team that is on the doorstep, boy, what a signing he would be for that team, because he's going to help you offensively. He's going to help you in the clubhouse. So I expect the Phillies to make a serious bid to retain him probably after the season. The stakes are so high this season. With the huge payroll, with the stars up and down the lineup, with the ticking clock, they need to win. They need to win. And I think that's where all their focus should be right now, even above who's a free agent, who do we need to extend. Just concentrate on winning right now. And I think that's a healthy mindset. But Kyle Schwarber, he's in the postseason every year. He's an incredible winner, and he's had a huge impact there, and he's had a huge impact on this 8-3 start that the Phillies are off to.
Well, I picked him to win the National League Home Run Championship, so I agree with you, Jim.
Good pick.
Home Run champion. I picked him to win the Home Run Championship in the National League this year. So before
he hit that ball 460 the other night in
right.
Truist Park. 460.
It would have been 700 in the bank, but that's a whole different story. But speaking of the bank, I saw where it was voted the best ballpark atmosphere, best ballpark something or other the other day. So it's great. It's unbelievable. I was there this weekend. You didn't say hi. It's no big deal. I know you're busy. It's cool. I was there on Saturday. It's fine. But I have a couple questions for you. What's your go-to food? Because every time I go, I have to get chicken and pizza. I have to get crab fries with the cheesy sauce. And I have to go see Frankie 2 Scoops and get my ice cream. So how do you stay away from the ice cream every day with Frank in there in his rotating menu of and he comes in, he's like, well, here's the lineup today. What do you want? And I walk in, he's like, I'll give you my special, right? So what's your go-to food? And then how do you avoid eating ice cream every day? Because if I worked for the Phillies, I'd be in there every day just crushing ice cream.
I consciously avoid it because that lunchroom is so great. I just have to, because I have trouble working like on a full belly. I need to have an empty belly or I can't work. But concession wise, that Manco pizza is really good. It's from the Jersey Shore. And this is a John Middleton owner story for you. He was not happy with the pizza at the ballpark, and he wanted to have good pizza. And they decided to bring in Manco from the Jersey Shore. So that's good pizza. Try that when you get there. Those crab fries are really good. Everything's good. There's good cheesesteaks all over the ballpark. You can't go wrong. It's a great atmosphere, and from where the press box is, a beautiful view of downtown. You've seen it, but I mean, when that team is winning, they knock it out all the time. I mean, it was cold and dreary and rainy against the Dodgers, and they sold it out 3 nights in a row. I think 6 home games. I think 5 of them have been sellouts. People love a winner in Philadelphia, and they will support a winner. And the Phillies, putting some good teams on the field and getting great support. I mean, this is the city, AJ, that has the National League record for sellouts, 257 straight sellouts, during what I call the Jimmy Chase Ryan era, Charlie Manuel, Cole Hamels, all those guys. I think it started in 07 or 08 and it went to 2012. So 257 straight sellouts. And that place just rocks. And it's a lot of fun to be at that ballpark when this team is winning. And, opening day was really special because Brandon Graham brought out the Super Bowl trophy, and he had it in his left hand, and he threw out the first pitch. He never put down the Super Bowl trophy. He threw it out with his right hand. And I'll tell you what, it made the hair on my neck stand up when 44,000 people started singing "Fly Eagles Fly," and then immediately shifted to "Let's Go Phillies." So it's a pretty cool place.
That's cool. Yeah.
By the way, the best
awesome.
cheesesteaks in all the stadium are in the visiting clubhouse. But I feel awkward as a media person going in there and ordering one. It's weird. Like, I'm not going to walk in there and be like, hey, Kevin, visiting clubhouse, can I get a cheesesteak?
Text the clubby.
I know, but I'm
Bring
in
it
there.
out.
It's just not what I would do.
You're
it's just
right.
weird.
My buddy Todd Zalecki, he's my podcasting partner on the Phillies show. He did a story on that guy, and I think the Colorado Rockies have a 3-series record. They ate some ungodly amount of cheesesteaks, and
he's cheesesteaks for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's like, oh my god, you get tired. I never thought I'd say that, but you get tired of them after a while. Because they're so good, and you just want to just.
That's got to be tough to play with when you're throwing down that many.
That's why you got to wait for an off day.
Right. Well, Jim, this was awesome. Great to have you back on. Keep crushing it on the Phillies show. The show the other day, live at the park with Middleton, was awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Everyone go check out. It's on the bottom left corner of your screen, the QR code, but otherwise you can look it up. The Phillies show, YouTube, wherever you get your pods, the whole deal, part of the FT network. Be right back. BetMGM Locks for us. By the way, just real quick, Jim was talking about how Philly just rocks the park. Did you see Pittsburgh the other day? And I know it was cold, but it's pretty similar weather to Philly. Skiing start.
No, not a lot.
It's empty.
Not a lot.
Not died good. Inside.
Not a lot.
Died
kids.
Inside.
Not a lot of kids.
It was for the start where he wasn't good. But.
By the way, the Angels hit 4 homers in that inning, and Joe Adele hit 2 in the same inning.
Let me guess. You picked the Angels Rays over today.
I should have, but I didn't because it was an early game, and I'm not allowed to do that.
You are not. That does not make sense for the rules. What are you going to do today?
I'm going some guy named Spencer Schwellenbach.
He's good.
He's pretty good. Over 5.5 punch-outs against the Phillies. Phillies strike out a lot. They're going to need some depth from him after the game last night, so I think he'll go over 5.5. And then I'm going Brewers and Rockies over 10.5 in Coors because I just think that those teams, the pitching matchup's not great. It's in Coors. They're going to swing the bat in 10.5. So that gets me to plus 207. So that's what I'm going with.
The Brewers
scored
doubled that.
They scored 20 last night?
Something like that.
That's crazy.
They've won 7 of 8. I know they're
swept.
Playing good.
You know who looks really good? Jackson Chourio.
Jackson Chourio is a budding star.
Oh, man. He looked great last year, but this year, after the first 2 games, if you look at his at-bats and the way he's swinging, oh, man, this dude's going to be an awesome.
Brewers are a good team. They've got patchwork starting pitching going on.
Snuck back into it.
Of course. It's a good team. It's a well-managed team. I really like watching Milwaukee. I got to do it. Murph's selfless. He is. He'll take the hits.
He's undaunted.
He is undaunted. All right. I will go with the over on the Schwellenbach-Luzardo matchup. It's 7.5. It crept down since this morning, so I locked it in at over 7.5 plus a hundo. I think they'll get to the bullpens, even if it's tight early.
Yeah.
The Braves bullpen is struggle city right now, and the Phillies bullpen.
That's why I think Schwellenbach has to go deep.
Yeah.
They're going to need him to pitch some innings for him.
He went 8 last time.
That's what I'm saying. He's been great.
But if he doesn't go 8, then I'm going, maybe we hit a 10 spot in that game. And then we saw Kratz pick on there as well. Up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet when you sign up at BetMGM.com or on the app and use the code FOUL, FOUL. FT fam, we'll be right back to, I think, talk about AJ's favorite game from yesterday. The White Sox stumbling to the finish line.
Oh, man.
And then we'll slap later. In the weeds. So 2 things from yesterday with plays at the plate. One, you brought up yesterday because it happened during our show, and then I got to watch the clip afterward.
The Pirates clip?
Key Brian Hayes. Wait.
Oh, man.
But if you just run into the players that collided or kind of act like you do, isn't it obstruction?
Yeah, that was weird base running because the guy was trying to just do what I did and step on Aaron Boone's back, and it doesn't matter.
He was being so polite.
He was
and
he
was out.
Himself an out.
Yeah.
Key Brian Hayes was I mean, and they were like, oh, what a heads-up play. I mean, the ball landed right there, and you could hear the pitcher going, tag him, tag him. He picks him up, tags him before he's – that collision was nasty. That's why I always told my infielders because I sucked at pop-ups. I'll be honest, I sucked at them. I'd be like, my first and third base, I'm like, you catch them all. And now if they're from behind home plate back, I'll do my best. But if I have to go into anywhere foul, counting towards the dugouts, meaning towards fair territory, that's your ball. Go get them.
Yep.
Catch them all. Because the ball's going away from you as a catcher. And how many times you see the catcher go, oh, and they miss it because it's spinning back to you. So the first baseman was doing the right thing. He was charging, and they smashed into each other. Luckily, they're both okay. Mm-hmm. But the base runner, he was kind of in a weird spot because he was trying to score, and he was trying to be nice, and he went around, and the ball just happened to go in the right spot for Brian Hayes to pick it up and tag him. The ball's timing. 6 inches left or 6 inches right, he's safe. It just went in the perfect spot.
Yeah. But some guys would just be badasses, and they would just truck stick and say obstruction, or they'd get home.
Yeah.
Guys are a little nicer these days. All right, so White Sox play. He got hurt, Rojas, right? On his way home. That was Rojas?
No, was it?
What did you want to talk about with the White Sox game?
Oh, it's Tauchman.
Oh, it's Tauchman.
Oh, the White Sox game. I'm like, what are you talking about, Rojas?
Sorry. Well, Josh Rojas.
Yeah, I know.
Confusing my veterans.
He's already hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, Tauchman.
Tauchman yesterday. I mean, listen, this is the most White Sox thing I've ever seen. On how to lose a game. You've lost 6 in a row. You get to Class A. You have the base loaded 2 outs. Vargas gets a hit to left, makes it 3-2. Tauchman's coming around, and he pulls a hamstring, and he's out by 25 feet. He probably would have scored. And what a pick, by the way, by Austin Hedges at home plate. It's going to get overlooked, but it was a short hop, and he picked it. And I mean, obviously, but if he misses it, Tauchman limps home, and they still tie the game. He picks it, tags Tauchman out, and you can just see Tauchman's like, he throws his helmet. He's like, gets on his knees. He's like, no. But like the most White Sox way to lose of all, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Was that a hammy?
It's a hammy. He went on the IL. Then they lose Corey Lee to a left ankle sprain, getting back on a pickoff. And then they also lost Benintendi to an abductor. I don't know the difference.
Adductor. He's out. Rojas is out.
But my question is like, okay, so if you're the White Sox, and I know they called up Narvaez to catch, right? Why don't you call up Kyle Teal? I know he's struggling a little bit in AAA, but why not call him up and give him a shot? You already have Theis there. I guess they're both left-handed hitters. Maybe that's the reason.
Service time.
But you would give him a shot. He's struggling. I know he's only hitting like 190 in AAA, but he did some special things for you in spring training. Just get him up. If Corey Lee's only going to be out for a couple weeks, 10 days, give him those 10 days. Let him catch 4 or 5 games and start the process of getting him used to being in the big leagues. I mean, Narvaez, you're not winning the division if you're the White Sox this year. The season's already over.
Yeah, your season's
over.
You're
losing today. You're already 2-8, so they're going to be 2-9.
Let him learn in the bigs.
Let him learn. Give him a couple games. Throw him out there. Let him get used to catching the pitchers he's going to be catching for the next few years.
Service time. They'll call him up after the Super 2 deadline thing.
Yeah, but he's not going to stay. If you know Corey Lee's coming back, he's not going to stay. So you say, hey, you're here for 10 days.
But if he hits.
Catch 4. He's not, though. You just know he's not.
Sure.
But I guess they would have 2 left-handed hitting catchers, but if you face tough lefty, you give it to Theis and you give Teal the.
Yeah, I mean,
you see
I
what
wouldn't even worry about that.
But
yeah,
to me, that's the question: is why don't we bring him up?
I don't know. They're
if
behind.
I'm a White Sox fan, I'm like, why don't we bring up this? I mean, no offense to Narvaez, who's had a nice career, but he's kind of proven his thing.
Yeah, like what are we doing?
And they have him in Double-A so we can catch Schultz and Hagen Smith. So like, let him stay down there and get him. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm not there day to day, but I don't know why I would. If it was me, I'd be like, you know what, Kyle Teal, you're coming up for 10 days or however long Corey Lee's out, and as soon as he comes back, you're going back down to AAA. But just get some under your belt, so when you do come up, everything's not new. At least you get a couple games in, 4 or 5 games, and go.
Lance Lynn had the answer. They're just behind. He's like, no offense, they're just behind. We'll be right back. Here we are. But yeah, I'm with you. It's just not happening right now. They're going to wait it out.
Sorry. I mean, it's just a little rant. I just don't understand why. I mean, the thing is, you look at their position player prospects right now. Teal, Colson Montgomery's hitting 080. And I know it's chilly in Charlotte, but, Kyle Teal's not hitting either there.
Is there a case to be made that you want to call guys up when they're clicking in the minors, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. For catcher, the thing is, like, get them there. You have Theis, you have Drew Butera. Get them there and get them 4 or 5 games under their belt. Because what happens if, God forbid, something happens for the longer term, and you said Super 2 manipulation. I don't know if that's the case, because he's not going to stay there the whole year. Now, maybe something could happen, and he might, but that's a chance you take. If he comes up and does really well, you know what? Cool, we found somebody.
Exactly.
Like, let's roll with this dude.
And give him a taste.
That's kind of like, I remember Torrey Hunter. Like, I'll use Torrey Hunter as an example. He was in Double-A, 1997, New Britain, and they call him up. He was going to quit because he's like, this sucks. I'm not very good. They called him up to pinch run in Baltimore for like 2 games. He pinch ran. He's like, man, this big league stuff's pretty cool. I'm going to stick with it. Worked out pretty good for that guy.
Hell yeah.
Right? But he was going to quit baseball.
Yeah.
He was going to quit and go home and play football.
I didn't know
They called
that.
him up for 2 days. Someone got hurt. They needed him or paternity leave, whatever it was. They called him up to Baltimore for 2 days. He got to pinch run. He's like, man, this big league stuff's awesome. I'm in.
Did he ever talk about that publicly?
No, I don't know, but I mean, that's
a crazy story, though.
Yeah. No, they literally called him up just to basically, he was struggling in Double-A because then the next year, 98, I was there in Double-A with him. And that was when he kind of started figuring some stuff out. And then we went, then the rest is history. And Torrey went on to have an unbelievable career.
That's my thing is there's the whole balance of, we don't want to call him up and have him discouraged and then get demoted. I'm like, damn, you call a guy up and even if he struggles and gets a taste, I don't care how motivated you are, you're going to be that much more motivated when you go back down and be like, I want that back, right? I want a taste of that.
Exactly.
So I'm like, do you really think their feelings going to be so hurt if they get called up for a week or two and struggle? For me personally, obviously I have no relation to this situation, but if I was called up and I got to see what the big leagues was like in any capacity, I'd be up at 5 a.m. instead of 5:30. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm like, I'm getting back there. That was freaking awesome.
Once you get a little taste of it, you want to get back.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Kyron Paris with the Angels. I mean, he busted his tail to get back there, made some swing changes and did some stuff, and now look at him.
Yep.
Once you get a taste, you want to get back.
I think it's smart. Hey, we're back, but only for like 10 seconds, apparently. We're going to say bye. So not even enough time for the coolest outro in baseball, slap hands.
Oh, really? We're that far behind? By the way, I'm calling this dude out. Christopher Foster, you suck.
In the chat?
Yep.
I miss him. No, I'm on here now. Should we put him in timeout?
No, it's over.
Just let him sulk.
Yeah.
And hate life.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? AJ just became a fan. I'm not going to. All right. I'm going to get back off the muck. Dodgers territory coming up next with Alana and Clint. Actually,
are they worried?
Their show the other day.
6. You guys did the
we did the game last night, the playback. It was fun. It went really well. Daniel Murphy was really good. He had a great time. He loves the game.
Yeah, he's smart.
It's fun to talk to guys when they love the game. Yeah. He brings up some philosophies that you've never heard before, but they make sense.
Yeah.
And they help relate with young fans. So I thought it was cool. He was really good. And you know what? For a guy who's got plenty of old school thoughts in him, he thrived by getting more lift on the baseball at one point.
He did. Remember, he made some big changes.
And
he went off for those couple years.
And he's all about it now, right? But not in like a super analytical or launch angle-y way. You know, it's just when he's watching the game with us yesterday, he's just like, "Oh, that was on you." You know, he's like, "You gave that to the infield, right?" He's like, "Your job's to get it over the infield." Like he had some simple philosophies that he brings now to the kids that he coaches. I think he's got like an 11-year-old. So anyway, he was really good. Actually, I'm going to ask you this question for the last 2 minutes of today, because then I'm going to ask it tomorrow. We're going to do a segment on it. I'm actually into this one. His favorite question that he asks almost any baseball fan: who will have more career innings pitched? Babe Ruth, obviously, is done.
Shohei?
Or Shohei Ohtani.
How many does Babe Ruth have?
Babe Ruth has 1,221 and a third.
No
innings.
chance Shohei's getting there. No chance.
Shohei
Babe Ruth.
481 and 2/3.
No. Babe Ruth. You think he's going to get 800 more innings in 8 years?
Me, no, and I'm going to go into it more.
I'm going Babe Ruth.
Not close.
I don't know. I know he's supposed to pitch again.
He's going to pitch.
I just don't know how much he's going to pitch, and they're going to baby him. So he's going to miss most of this year. They'll go into next year, and if anything pops up, they're going to be like, just hit 50 and steal 50. We'll be good.
mean, he's got almost 800 innings to catch up on.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And he's not going to do 200-inning seasons.
No.
I don't even think he's going to do many 150s. And he's 30 years old.
He's going to be 100 to 120. That's 6 to 7 more years to catch him.
So 481 and 2/3. What does he finish with? Maybe in the sevens?
I think he might get to 800, 900.
800? Yeah.
If he gets to 1,000, I'd be shocked.
Right. So it's not close. We're going to talk about
Who's going to have more
tomorrow.
home runs, Babe Ruth or Shohei Ohtani?
3. How many does Shohei have?
Oh,
229. Thought he was in the threes already.